Welcome, kind listener. My name is Gentle Fox. You may not know me now, but by the end of this masterpiece, you will, and I trust you'll think of me as an old friend. What you'll be hearing tonight is an excerpt from our Twitch stream. I hope you'll enjoy that extra ambiance and my soft-spoken voice as we explore Leo Tolstoy's classic, Anna Karenina. That whole day Anna spent at home, that is, at the Oblonskys', and did not receive anyone, though some of her acquaintances, having learned of her arrival, called that same day. Anna spent the morning with Dolly and the children. She only sent a little note to her brother, telling him to be sure to dine at home. "Come, God is merciful," she wrote. Oblonsky dined at home. The conversation was general, and his wife spoke to him, addressing him familiarly, something she had not done recently. There remained the same estrangement in the relations between husband and wife, but there was no longer any talk of separation, and Stepan Arkadyevitch could see the possibility of discussion and reconciliation. Just after dinner, Kitty arrived. She knew Anna Arkadyevna, but only slightly, and she now came to her sisters not without fear of how she would be received by this Petersburg society lady whom everyone praised so much. But Anna Arkadyevna liked her, and she saw that at once. Anna obviously admired her beauty and youth, and before Kitty could recover, she felt that she was not only under her influence, but in love with her, as young girls are capable of being in love with older married ladies. Anna did not look like a society lady, or the mother of an 8-year-old son, but in the litheness of her movements, the freshness and settled animation of her face, which broke through now as a smile, now as a glance, would have looked more like a 20-year-old girl had it not been for the serious, sometimes sad expression of her eyes, which struck Kitty and drew her to Anna. Kitty felt that Anna was perfectly simple and kept nothing hidden, but that there was in her some other, higher world of interests, inaccessible to her, complex and poetic. After dinner, when Dolly went to her room, Anna quickly got up and went over to her brother, who was lighting a cigar. "Stiva," she said to him, winking merrily, making a cross over him and indicating the door with her eyes. "Go, and God help you." He understood her, abandoned his cigar, and disappeared through the door. When Stepan Arkadyevitch had gone, she returned to the sofa, where she sat surrounded with children, whether because the children had seen that her mother loved this aunt, or because they themselves felt special charm in her. The elder two, and after them the young ones, as so often happens with children, had clung to the new aunt even before dinner, and would not leave her side. Something like a game was set up among them, which consisted in sitting as close as possible to her, touching her, holding her small hand, kissing her, playing with her ring, or at least touching the flounce of her dress. "Well, well, the way we sat earlier," said Anna Arkadyevna, sitting back down at her place. And again Grisha put his head under her arm and leaned it against her dress and beamed with pride and happiness. "So now, when is the ball?" She turned to Kitty. "Next week, and a wonderful ball, one of those balls that are always merry." "And are there such balls where it's always merry?" Anna said with tender mockery. "Strange, but there are. At the Bobrishevs it's always merry, and also at the Nikitins, but at the Mezhovs it's always boring. Haven't you noticed?" "No, dear heart. For me there are no longer any balls that are merry," said Anna, and Kitty saw in her eyes that special world that was not open to her. For me, there are those that are less difficult and boring. How can you be bored at a ball?" "Why can't I be bored at a ball?" asked Anna. Kitty noticed that Anna knew the answer that would follow. "Because you're always the best of all." Anna was capable of blushing. She did blush and said, "First of all, I never am. And second, if it were so, what do I need it for?" "Will you go to this ball?" asked Kitty. "I suppose it will be impossible not to go. Take it," she said to Tanya, who was pulling the easily slipped-off ring from her white, tapering finger. "I'll be very glad if you go. I'd like so much to see you at a ball." "At least, if I do so, I'll be comforted at the thought that it will give you pleasure." "Grisha, don't fuss with it, please. It's all disheveled as it is," she said, straightening a stray lock of hair Grisha was playing with. "I imagined you in lilac at the ball." "Why must it be lilac?" Anna asked, smiling. "Well, children, off you go. Off you go. Do you hear? Miss Hull is calling you for tea," she said, tearing the children from her and sending them into the dining room. "And I know why you're inviting me to the ball. You expect a lot from this ball, and you want everyone to be there. You want everyone to take part." "Yes. How do you know?" "Oh, how good to be your age," Anna went on. "I remember and know that blue mist, the same as in the mountains in Switzerland. The mist that envelops everything during the blissful time when childhood is just coming to an end, and the path away from that vast, cheerful, and happy circle grows narrower and narrower. And you feel cheerful and eerie entering that suite of rooms, though it seems bright and beautiful. Who hasn't gone through that?" Kitty silently smiled. But how did she go through it? I'd so love to know her whole romance, thought Kitty, recalling the unpoetical appearance of Alexei Alexandrovitch, her husband. "There's something I know. Stiva told me, and I congratulate you. I like him very much," Anna went on. "I met Vronsky at the railway station." "Ah, he was there?" Kitty asked, blushing. "But what did Stiva tell you?" "Stiva gave it all away, and I'd be very glad. I traveled with Vronsky's mother yesterday," she went on, "and his mother didn't stop talking to me about him. He's her favorite. I know how partial mothers can be, but what did his mother tell you?" "Oh, a lot. I know he's her favorite, but even so one can tell he's chivalrous. Well, for instance, she told me he wanted to give the whole fortune to his brother, that while still a child he did something extraordinary, rescued a woman from the water. In short, a hero," Anna said, smiling and remembering the 200 rubles he gave at the station. But she did not mention the 200 rubles. For some reason, it was unpleasant for her to remember it. She felt that there was something to it that concerned her, and of a sort that should not have been. "She insisted that I call on her," Anna went on, "and I'll be glad to see the old lady, and we'll call on her tomorrow. However, thank God Stiva has spent a long time in Dolly's boudoir," Anna added, changing the subject and getting up, displeased at something, as it seemed to Kitty. "No, me first. No, me," the children shouted, having finished their tea and rushing out to Aunt Anna. "All together," said Anna, and laughing she ran to meet them, and embraced and brought down the whole heap of swarming, rapturously squealing children.